you're not going to catch nearly as many crappie unless you start using Navionics. Navionics was a game changer for me because I was able to see what the depths were at public accesses. A lot of times with ice fishing, you're stuck to fishing around public access unless you have a snow machine. Seeing as I don't have a snow machine, this was the easiest way for me to figure out where crappie would be. So once I discovered that clear water crappie are most active in the evenings, I was dead set on finding the depths at which they're the best to catch at. So after a lot of time on the water, I was able to pattern the fish and figure out where they like to patrol and feed in the evenings. Now, a cool feature with Navionics is you can use it to create waypoints of wherever you're fishing, even in the free version, which gives you the ability to go back to a spot where you found fish before, which is exactly what we did here in this film, as we had gone out the night before and catch a ton of crappie, and we were able to return to that exact location and set up in and along this weed line where we had caught crappie the previous day. Having that reference is key, especially when if I came back the week after my holes were gone, or you couldn't figure out where the holes were, I can at least use Navionics to see my position on the map, as well as use it to guide me to where I had made that waypoint where we had been fishing. It's also extremely helpful when you're trying to get back on a spot the next year. So at least with Navionics, you can kind of pinpoint what spots you'd like to fish, and then using the underwater camera, you can really focus in on the spot that you found. So having the ability to use the underwater camera to actually locate the habitat you'd like to fish and to see where these fish are coming from and how they're moving through, there's a huge edge once you've actually found a location where they're hanging out and feeding. So as you can see here, I've set up again, this time being able to see my buddy Al's bait as well as my own using the underwater camera. We set up again just before dark as the crappie tend to come in and are more active as that sun is coming down. So while we wait for the crappie to show up, we try and catch perch, bluegill, and pumpkin seed to pass the time. So what really worked for us last session was using a glow tungsten jig head with 2 pink gulp maggots on the back. As you can see, right after dropping down, immediately attracted some fish, and you could tell that the fish were quite active today in comparison to the beginning of the last time I was out. One thing that is really cool to see is how far fish will actually travel to get your bait. In this clear water, they can definitely see this pink stand out really well, and I'm sure as it gets dark, when you supercharge that glow paint on the tungsten jig head, they'll be able to see it from a long ways away. As it started to get dark, the fish became a lot more active, and the crappie started to move in. As you can see here, my buddy Al caught his first one of the night. Once that first crappie is caught, it creates a lot of excitement. As you know, a flurry of activity is on the way, and there's a good chance that you could get into a lot of fish very quickly. This is something I wasn't expecting. The golden shiner came out of nowhere and actually took interest in my bait and actually ate the bait, which I was not expecting at all. Really cool fish, and just something you don't see that often. Golden shiner is an incredible bait for predator fish like walleye, bass, and muskie. Now, a key thing is you want your bait to sit horizontally, essentially not have the rubber of the bait pulled down where the shank of the hook is exposed. It's nice when your bait's actually sitting horizontally, and you tend to get more bites. So adjusting that so it is sitting horizontally is kind of key. It's Slowly but surely, the signs that the crappie are moving in start to show. As you can see, this one's sitting on the bottom, which only means that there's more to come. Finally, I got my first chance at a crappie, and I was able to actually catch this one. Unfortunately, my camera was having some video feed issues and it didn't record it completely. Now, something that's annoying to all ice anglers is line twist, as it prevents bites and can spook fish. To prevent line twist, you should change your line at the beginning of the season, or try either of these two tips commented in my last video by @BradDiem4585 and @BrabinsBulls4405. Thanks for commenting. From time to time, you will get big bass show up like this one. Not necessarily something that you would expect to see, but they will feed during the winter. Now, of course, in Ontario, they are out of season, so you definitely don't want to be targeting them. If you look closely, you can see Al catching another one in the background. As it's really dark, you can see where the glow paint comes in handy, as you can really see these jigs stand out, even Al's in the distance. You can't even necessarily see the plastic on the bait anymore, but at least it gives it a bit of a profile and scent for the fish to find. Now, my camera started had some video feed issues, so I wasn't recording everything that we had caught, but the crappie did move into the dark, and we really started to get on them. If you look closely in the background, you can see Al catching them as well as myself, and it can be really rapid and fun, as they're very aggressive as it gets dark. There's even a couple big ones around like this one that I was fortunate enough to catch. Thanks so much for watching right to the end. I really appreciate it. Please subscribe if you like this video. Leave a comment on what your favorite crappie bait is for ice fishing in the winter.